Rise and shine, it's LOL Media Inc. time. Jacob here with LOL Media Inc. bringing you further faster in the tech arena with some in-depth reviews, random rants, and of course, in-depth resources. I'm your host, Jacob. Thank you for tuning in. This is gonna be our first vlog today, kind of coming into the tech arena here and entering the tech review arena. That being said, I've been toying around cameras and this kind of gear for quite a long time. I've had extensive YouTube history through a niche market and a channel that's LOL Media Inc. Looking to move more into commercial work, I decided it would be time to share some of my expertise with all of you out there. So today I want to bring up and review and unbox one of my favorite products, and that is this guy, the Canon M50. You've heard it all over the net. People love it, people hate it, people are undecided whether or not it's worth it or not. Great camera with crappy 4K, which I actually disagree with, and we'll get into more of that later. That being said, let's go over to the countertop over here and let's unbox this sucker and check out what's inside. Now, contrary to the box itself, this is the white Canon M50 with the 15 to 45 starter lens. Let's go on over there and get this unboxed.
Boom, we'll take that. So in the box we have our paperwork, our free Canon online photo album stuff, very thick manual. Make sure you kids read your manual. Open this guy up, we have our EOS strap, the package itself. Now I went and bought the white edition this time around. This is actually, like I said, my second M50. So you can see the white's got a nice pop to it. It looks very sexy and sleek. I figured this would be a good way to go. Set him there for a second. Let's see what else we got in here. So, previous to last time, I have our silver in this one, 15 to 45 lens. Pretty standard stuff. It actually telescopes. You give it a twist like, whoop, I get the right end here. Give it a twist like this, and it telescopes out to activate, and then for packing it down, comes back down like that again. Pretty cool little lens, actually. The mirrorless technology is really interesting that Canon's doing. Battery charger, go figure. Battery itself. And voila, you have all the contents of the box. So the M50 is a really, really nice little camera. Great budget for the price. I mean, the 4K on it is pretty darn good in my opinion. I know I've been impressed with it so far. But the white edition, I like this one quite a bit more. I love the pop, the sexiness look of it. It just looks really good. As you can see, it's really easy to assemble. Just take the lens cap off. Take the lens itself, pop it on there just like your standard EF, EFS lenses. And you've got this sexy little package right here, ready to bend over backwards and do your bidding. So, that being said.
Whoo-wee. Yeah, that white, this white just looks absolutely incredible on this M50. I love the white edition so much. Problem is they don't have really the white that available in a lot of the bundles and stuff like you'll get. For example, this is my second M50. Let me go out and say that first off. I love this camera so much. It's so compact, it's so discreet, and it's so perfect for what I do, which is a mixture of YouTube, some professional photography, and I do cinematography as well. I do weddings, I do commercial work, freelance. It's just, this camera is so nice for really all of it. It's because I believe in a lot of way what DSLR guide says. With the right lighting, even a low-end DSLR can look like it has a cinema camera sensor. Well, despite what you think on that, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate and everything for saying that, being a young kid just saying that, it's new to the game. But I kind of agree. With the right lighting, you can really make a low-end DSLR look like a cinema camera, cinema quality. It's all about how you control it and shift it and bend it to your will to get the vibe you want. In this case, I want to go ahead and say I'm recording on another M50 right now. So those of you that want to see the video quality in action, this is it. You're watching it. It's great. This is not the 4K. This is in 1080p. I'm recording at 24 frames per second, and I have our sound system going through this. There's no preamp extra added on here. This is just the Rhodes Link mic going into the camera itself and lobbed up to me right here. I'm going to be doing an unboxing on that actually next. And we're going to be talking about, I bought another one because I'm going out and actually doing run and gun shooting. My niche actually shooting products for magicians, believe it or not. And I'll be sharing videos of that as we go on. But let's get back to the M50, because this thing is just, why buy two of them? Why buy another one? Well, first off, I like having a white one and a black one. I can give my shooters whichever one and designate it. I can assign both of them two different jobs. I even put two different looking memory cards in them, so that way I just know what's in what. There's a white adapter with a micro 128 gigabyte that goes in this one. There's a black covered 128 gigabyte memory card that goes into that one. Both very fast writing speed. I believe this is a Samsung in this one, and the other one's a SanDisk in the one you're watching right now. So the 4K on this thing is the big controversy, I feel like, and I don't understand why the controversy's there. I think the 4K looks really, really nice. I'll show some footage. The unboxing you saw before was actually the 4K from, of course not this exact camera, but the one we're using right now. That was simply the 4K put on similar settings that we have right here. I believe I remember right, I had the kit lens on it to give you an idea what the kit lens looks like. It's really, really nice. And people always, another thing, people always are shitting on the kit lenses that come with these Canons and all that. This kit lens is actually pretty good. This is all I had, this and a long zoom lens. I believe it was the 55-200 is the mirrorless lens. I could be wrong on that, but I've got it in my bag over here. But it's the lens, I bought that, the kit lens and that lens to go with this camera that I'm using to film this right now, my Black M50. And that's all I had for the first month, because I was waiting on the EFM to EF and EFS adapter to come. Very important thing I should probably mention, I'm using that on this camera right now. So if you're wondering what the settings are, how am I getting this look out of this camera is set right now at 125 ISO. It has your 150th shutter speed, f2.8, and it's set on 24 frames per second. So you can see this camera can get a lot of range out of it. I should say, I've noticed coming from a T6i Rebel to this, it's a huge difference. From everything I've seen, it really is like an 80D just shrunk down and a few more features added in, a faster processor. The Digic 8 just smokes the Digic 7 that I had in my T6i. It's really crazy just how nice, how fluid everything is. The menu layout's great. Even though when you first turn the camera on, you're gonna get this big help guide. If you're a newbie to this camera's golden for you. Even if you're a pro, this camera's golden for you because it's so inconspicuous. But if you're a newbie, there are a lot of guided modes in here. You know, when I started doing cameras, I got into it and I realized learning my settings is the most important thing before I went out and tried doing stuff. So I learned my settings and I started out and doing stuff, and I learned my settings again while I was going out and doing stuff. Basically learn your settings, and this camera can teach you quite a bit of that. It gives you helpful tutorials. It tells you what each of the features are on here. I personally turn it off because I find it annoying, because ain't no one gonna tell me what to do. Not really, it's just I understand how the camera works, how to get a good lighting, how to get a good sound and everything out of it. So I turn those features off, but if you're a beginner, you're definitely gonna find that very, very useful. So I want to show you some of the stills that have come out of this guy, because this does shoot in both, you know, obviously JPEG format and a new RAW format, which is really a gift and a curse currently. C.CR3 is the new Canon RAW. It's a compressed RAW that gives you more space in your memory, so obviously it's a compressed file, but it's still just as lossless as the original Canon RAW 2. So what's the big deal about it? It's kind of not good. So for me, I like using very simple means to edit my photos. I enjoy Snapseed. I enjoy some of the phone editing apps, because usually when I'm out on the go or I'm sitting with a client, they want to see, they're instant gratification people, and they want to see it right there. And I can do that really quickly because I've gotten very good with Snapseed, and it works phenomenally. It has a lot of those Photoshop-esque tools in it. I can bring it in the back end and put it into Photoshop, put it into Lightroom if I want to, though I don't really use those programs very much, honestly, because let's face it, renting software is appalling. And it's my honest opinion, you don't really need them. They're just tools and a preference. And this is a preference that I don't personally prefer most of the time. So that being said, my opinion is probably going to change on that down the line as I grow, as I evolve, and as I keep going. But the stills out of this are great. Just the problem is, even Photoshop has a hard time playing with the CR3 files. And the only one that plays extremely well with them, in all honesty at this point in June 2018, or July 2018 is the recording of this, I'm sorry, is the Canon Photo Professional software, which took me a whole day to figure out where Canon put it on their site, to download it. It's slow as a fucking dead mouse with no legs. I'm sorry, Canon, you need to fix your software. I understand you're good with software and hardware. I love the interface on my camera. I love the focus it's using right now. I love this new autofocus you put into the Digic 8, but man, you gotta fix Digital Photo Professional, because I think it could be really cool if it didn't just suck so bad. That being said, CR3, I convert mine over to DNG, and then I export them that way and go in and edit them raw that way. Now, like I said, I think Photoshop plays nice with CR3 as of my news I have currently. I don't think Lightroom does still yet, but that's probably going to change soon. They kind of got to have that on board, because that's what 90% of the professional photographers, video, and other creatives like us and designers and influencers are using. That being said, as a guy that goes around and does run and gun video work, professional video work, I do photography. This thing is gold for long exposure because it's so light, it's so nice. You just stick it on a Joby Gorilla Pod and let it go. We'll go ahead and include some long exposure stills in here. So this first one I'll bring up here, this is actually a shot that I took. It's one of the very first long exposure shots I've ever taken, actually. And this was shot on the Canon M50 with a pair of indie filters on it, midday. And this was the mill in Pigeon Forge. As you can see, the Canon gets the M50 gets an incredible picture out of it. It looks great. And the kicker to this was a photo I had actually not done raw yet. This is just a JPEG, is the crazy thing. It looks this good and it's still just a JPEG. And while I did add the HDR to it and everything, really it still looks phenomenal regardless. That being said, this next one here, this photo is one that's actually been edited raw and everything. It does look really nice. It's a beautiful picture. It shows that this thing can do some great long exposure photography work. Here's another one right here. This one actually is a normal thing. It just captures that lens flare nicely. Once again, utilizing just the kit lens. It really shows what you can do if you don't sit back and just throw something into a box because you think you understand, oh, it's the kit lens, doesn't matter. Kit lenses can be good. It can be great tools if used by really creative minds and people that just know what they're doing. Back to me now. That being said, really this is experimentation, this is opinion. The 4K on this, I should say, was used in the unboxing portion that I showed earlier. It's of course been down-resed to 1080p, but you can get an idea what that looks like, obviously, based on that. The 4K in this looks really good. I don't know what people are complaining about, they are extremely large files. To give you an idea, a full 30 minutes of 4K, because I did this for the project for time-lapse. I shot the time-lapse in 4K, which this does do time-lapse in 4K as a time-lapse mode that works phenomenally. I just prefer to use normal video recording mode unless I need to use the time-lapse mode, because I like to get a little bit of motion blur when the video is sped up, a la Casey Neistat. But the 4K in this looks really, really good. Even when you don't down-res it, when you just have it on a 4K TV like I had for my client, that kind of thing. When we brought it in there and I put it on their 4K TV, they literally said, oh, it looks like I can reach out and pick the people out of the screen and pull them in here with me. And they loved it. At the end of the day, folks, you have to understand, Canon is not going to produce the perfect camera for a budget price. They gave you a lot in this one. I think this one's a lot better tool than people give it credit for. You just got to get that EFM to EFS adapter. It makes a huge difference. I bought a second one for this. Don't be fooled. I'm waiting on it to come. They're so popular that they're in back order. And I think that this camera has so much potential. That being said, the downside of it, the battery life on this thing is nothing compared to some of the DSLRs, even though the battery on the DSLR is only slightly bigger from what I've seen. At least my T6i, for example, battery's only slightly bigger, but the battery life goes an extra 30, 40 minutes when it's video recording, whatever. You get about 200 pictures out of this guy, 300 pictures out of this guy in one battery charge, depending on what you're doing. It's not the best, but you can buy some really affordable batteries, which I've got linked below if you're interested. There's two, I believe, for 15 bucks on Amazon. Get them in 2 days, and they're the ones I use, and they're phenomenal. You don't have to pay $80 from Canon like they sell their batteries for, which, by the way, Canon, you might sell more batteries if you didn't charge so fucking much for them. Just saying. But I love this thing. I love Canon's color science. I love everything about it. Even the kit lens, this intuitive thing where to activate it, you bring it out like that, and then it's active after you've popped it open a bit with this little switch on the side. I think that's a super cool feature that people overlooked. The white color, fuck, I just think it looks great. It looks so nice. And it's so nice to have a black and a white one, so you can just designate, you know, black, you just know in your mind, black is like main cam, white is wide angle, or you know, the black cam's on so-and-so for the match cutting, for example, an interview or something. This other one's over here. You can designate it, this one being, you know, this is the one you look at when you tell people when you're doing interviews with people. It's just really nice to have color-coded cameras, honestly. If I could get one in blue, I would do that too, honestly. But that being said, the M50 is just such a versatile tool. Don't put it into a box and just say, oh, it's a mirrorless, it's a budget entry camera, it's 4K, it's not that good, it crops in 1.75. Yes, the 4K crops in 1.75, we get it. You know, it's not a full frame mirrorless camera, but that being said, it's a mini 80D. It's a mini ADD. I love it. This thing is my favorite camera of all time. It comes highly recommended, and I recommend you buy the kit that has both the lens mount adapter and the camera itself. I'm going to link down below, actually, this exact kit I bought. It's the Canon White version with the 1545, and the lens adapter actually comes for only an extra 50 bucks. So I think it's $749.99 was the total I paid for this, at least the time in July of 2018 when I'm recording this. But that's linked down below. I think that's the best package, period. So definitely go and check that out if you just know for a fact that this is the one, or if you're debating it. This thing is gold. Some of the other cons I'll mention on it just real quick. Con-wise, I'm pissed because I bought this thing I bought both of these hoping to use them with the Ronin S. Unfortunately, Ronin S is not yet compatible with these. And a little spoiler that I don't think I've heard anywhere else, and I think it slipped out on accident when I contacted DJI about a question. I asked them, hey, is there going to be compatibility for this ever? What's the deal? Come on. And they replied back, literally said there's going to be a Ronin mirrorless coming soon. As in they're making the person that told me, gave me a response, said there'd be a Ronin mirrorless coming soon. And he didn't know if it was still in production or not, but he said there's the Ronin S and the Ronin mirrorless. The Ronin mirrorless, who knows, been pushed back or whatever. But apparently a Ronin mirrorless is coming. So if the Ronin S doesn't offer support to these guys, then apparently the Ronin mirrorless will at some point. It's going to be a whole nother system based on what I've briefly gathered from the email I got back. So I don't think DJI really meant to let the cat out of the bag on that one. So that being said, thanks again for watching. Jacob here at LOL Media Inc. If you enjoyed this video, go down and subscribe below. Hit ding dong ditch. Please subscribe to the channel. This is a brand new channel that we want to get going. My goal is to make this at least at 1,000 subscribers in the next 3 months. Help me do that. Please do share if you found something of value, and pick this guy up. This is my favorite camera. If you're curious about the gear we use in the video, the lighting that you're seeing here, I've got them linked down below as well. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time.